For 5 years, she couldn't walk long distances. Her speech was impaired and had to be assisted to do almost everything. In October 2015, when Joy News first encountered Jamaima, despite the limitations and discomforts from her scoliosis, she did not allow her lively spirit to be restrained.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish, I let 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I let it go away. Why did you let it go? Because it hurts my fingers too. Which finger did it? The little finger. Oh my right. The little finger. Oh my right.
Doctors needed 94,000 Ghana cedis to give back Jamaima's life to her in the shortest possible time because at the time she could hardly breathe. Thanks to your benevolence, Jamaima, according to her mother, now behaves like her peers.
Initially, Jamaima felt pity when she is among her peers. It's like she was just isolate herself and sits idle. But you realize this time when she came, especially when she's flowing with her peers, children's service, now she feels belonging. It's like she feels she's part of them. She feels she's normal as they are.
The family is overwhelmed. Her 2-year-old younger brother, Jethro, is also feeling the tremendous transformation and enjoying the full company of her sister.
Initially, the curvature, the way their side was very huge. But this time, it's like the thing is very straight. There's this hip just also around her waist here. Sometimes when she's very tired, she stood for some time and she's tired, then she'll use the elbow to choke that place in order for her to stand firm. But that thing is no longer there. And I can see her shape. And when I say I become very happy that I now have a girl who one day gets a Coca-Cola shape. So I in fact, initially when it's like, what is this? But this thing that has taken place is, in fact, I'm so grateful.
To prove that she can now speak, Jamaima recited poems and sang all the songs she can remember, including her birthday melody.
Just as you have heard Jamaima's mother say, she said now she has a daughter that she knows that when she grows up in the future, she'll have that Coca-Cola shape. I don't know what you feel about that, but for me, I feel excited. And Jamaima is here. If she would get up for you to see, and she's quite straight, very straight compared to how she was before we had to go through this surgery. And there's been a tremendous improvement. Unfortunately, very fortunately, today too is her birthday, and she's really in a good mood. That's why she's been giving us all those melodies from the Sunday school, from school, and all the poems. That's her way of saying thank you. Thank you to everybody who supported to make this surgery a reality. And Jamaima is having her life back.
I'm Sisyes Luna. I'm Sisyes Luna. I'm Sisyes Luna. May God bless you now. May God bless you now. May God bless you now. May God bless you now.
Hip, 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 hooray!
So from a scoliosis curve of 127 degrees to 50 degrees after surgery, that surely is a drastic transformation. This is the miraculous story of a 6-year-old Jamaima Korte, who is currently 70% straightened after battling with that spinal defect for 5 years, which rendered her hunchbacked. Jamaima's success story was made possible after Joy News, with your support as viewers, assisted her through surgery with a sum of 41,000 Ghana cedis out of a total cost of some 94,000 Ghana cedis. MFA Ewenam Atiamwa Eli was on that beat for us. This morning, the story is entirely different. Yeah, we did raise a lot of money, but it was not quite up to, except that we've been fortunate throughout this whole process to find a hospital, a medical practitioner, and wonderful supporting staff who still went ahead, even though the money was not quite apt to. So this morning, I've been joined by a great guest, Professor Ohineba Boacheje, is CEO, Focus Orthopedics Hospital in Ghana. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Dr. Irene Wolf is Chief Anesthetist, also with Focus Orthopedics Hospital. So, Prof and Doc, good morning. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for inviting me.
So that's Jamaima. I'm told Jamaima is almost like your daughter.
Yes, she is.
Tell us what has happened, Prof, from when you met her the first time to what she has become now.
So Jamaima came to us at the age of 6, and she had a very difficult problem in that her curve was about 127 degrees. And she was also under 10. So there are categories of spine deformity based on age and magnitude. Below age 10, we call them early onset, and they are the worst of the scoliosis patient because having had the curve so early, it affects their development, lung development, cardiac development, and most of these patients will not reach their full lifespan. And about 25% of them will probably be dead by age 20. So she was not on a good course. So when we saw her, we knew that she needed intervention, and it had to be done right away. The problem is when you have these patients with these deformities, you cannot do a final operation, like we call spinal fusion, which we do in teenagers and young adults. So you have to do multiple surgeries. And so she will have to have surgery until she's about 10, 11, or 12. And that should be done every 6 months. The first operation was to put in a rod and lengthen her over time. But because she was so deformed, we had to actually bring her into the hospital and put a metal ring on her, which we call the halo, and then stretch her over time to soften the soft tissues and also to make the curve more flexible so that when we put in the rod, we will not be fighting against a very stiff curve. So she was in the halo for about 2 months. She was also very thin, only weighed how much, like 13 kilos?
13 kilos.
And she also had not the typical idiopathic scoliosis that we see in young patients. She has some kind of a syndromic condition that required also medical assessment and anesthetic assessment. And this is where Dr. Wolf comes in, because you just can't take a patient to surgery if they're not medically stable. So she assessed her, and we had to do what we had to do in terms of making sure that she was medically fit. And during the months that she was in trashing, she gained a little weight, which was also very helpful.
And you put her on a special diet, you said?
Yes, we have to have a target weight. With what they go through for surgery, it's just too much for the body to cope with if they are so small. So we have a target weight, we put her on a diet, and then she achieved that. We were not able to reach the exact target, but we got quite close. Okay. So it's to increase her chances of doing well after the surgery. Yes.
Hello, Jamaima.
Hi.
How are you? So that's little Jamaima also here with us. But how many Jamaimas are out there? How many of them do you see?
Lots of them. We have right now about 20 patients of her age and maybe a little bit older who are waiting sponsorship. And these are Ghanaians. And we see patients from all over Africa, Ethiopia, Sierra Leone, Tanzania, Zambia. And these are patients who are brought in by sponsors. What we do is very, very involved in terms of the technical expertise. And it's also very costly. If you were to do these operations abroad, I was in the US for several years operating on similar patients, and it will cost you upwards of $100,000 to get a patient through surgery. So these sponsors and benefactors have really done a great deal of work in helping them. But in Ghana here, we don't have such sponsorship programs, and it's very kind of joy to really pick up Jamaima's case and come along with some funds to help her through.
But we're not done with Jamaima yet.
No, we're not. Jamaima, you're not done and we're not done. Jamaima needs more surgeries. And she's only 8 now, I believe. Yeah, and every 6 months you have to come in for lengthening. And those lengthening procedures are usually like a 3-day hospital stay, so it's not as involved. But even after the first surgery, she had a wound healing problem, which required that we bring her back to the hospital. and then cleaned the wound, and she did recover, got some antibiotics. So she's doing well now. She's in a brace, and every 6 months she has to come in for lengthening until she's about 12.
Wow. And then you're done with the entire procedure, the processes.
Then, God willing, hopefully we'll be done.
Dr. Wolf, help us understand the kind of pain that Jamaima has been through and perhaps is experiencing even still.
As the curvature gets worse, you know, it impinges on nerves around the spine, the spinal cord, so they have some pain. And then after surgery, this is very extensive surgery. It's like major carpentry work on this little spine. So after surgery, we keep them on quite high doses of morphine and paracetamol, so they are fairly comfortable. In fact, she was so comfortable we used to call her the class prefect of the intensive care. Now it's much better. Every time she comes in, she will probably go through the same kind of thing, but we take measures to make sure that they are very comfortable. Yes, I mean, we tell them that we can't take away all the pain, but we make it bearable for them, and they don't scream and shout in pain. Yes.
So what is she able to do now that she couldn't do before?
Well, I guess the stigma aspect of it is huge. It really doesn't do well for their the image of themselves. So that is a big plus for her. And then she'll be able to play and run around with her friends, but she just has to be careful when she's bending or doing twisting exercises and things like that. But she will, once she looks as straight as the others do, I think that is a big plus.
And I think her breathing is also better.
Breathing is much better now. But when we saw her at first, we were not sure whether we could go ahead because she could barely breathe. Yes.
And with improved breathing, hopefully she can enjoy the choir. Right?
You want to join the choir, Jamaima? Do you want to sing?
No, she says no.
But it does help.
Okay, but now let's look at the good number of cases that you still have, that you say you don't have.
We have about 20 more patients who are awaiting sponsorship. Several others who I'm sure are going to be coming in over the next few months and years. And I mean, this condition is present in about 2% of the population. So when you have 26 million people, you can imagine how many people are walking around with this. And most people believe that there probably isn't a cure or help, so they just live with it. The condition is more common in teenagers, by the way. Yeah, teenage girls usually are the ones that are affected the most.
What causes it?
It's a genetic condition. Idiopathic scoliosis is genetic. It runs mostly in females, and throughout the world it's the same. I've traveled everywhere, and you'd see the same condition in girls. Boys do get it too, but it's 10 to 1 female to male ratio. So when it starts, you can pick it up in school. So in countries where school screening is mandated, that every child between age 10 and 12 should be reviewed. So that's the age group where it mostly shows up. You can pick it up, and in the early stages, curves under 40 degrees, you can place the patient in a back brace, and the brace will hold it. It won't control, it will not cure it, it won't correct it, it will just hold it. So if you finish growing with a curve under 40, you will be fine. It's only when it goes beyond 45, 50 that you need treatment. Unfortunately, because we don't have such school screening programs, and because it's not painful, by the time it shows up in clothing or the child starts to complain, it's too late. Yeah, once it shows up in clothing, it's out. It's too late. You can't put a patient in the brace. Then you have to go for surgery. Yeah, and the surgery, it depends on the patient's age. As I said, below age 10, we do what we call the growing rod. So we put the instrumentation, we don't weld the spine. Every 6 months, you lengthen it until they're about 12. But if you come in after age 10, 11, 12, then we can do a final operation. And then you have one surgery and you're done.
Okay. Is Jamaima going to look normal, you know, as she grows? And I'm looking normal advisably, you know. Is she going to?
Oh, I think she will. Very, very close to it. Unless you really take a critical look, you might see a little bend. But as she grows older, that's why we keep doing the lengthening. She grows older, we lengthen the rod. She grows older, we lengthen, so that she keeps up with the spine remains as straight as it is now. So she'll look fine. After a while, she'll fuse and she won't bend anymore. And then she'll be fine.
So is that what's been also affecting her growth in terms of?
Yes, and then also, you know, your heart and lungs have to be strong for you to grow well. And this twist, the bending has an effect on, it doesn't make the lungs expand properly, it doesn't make your heart function properly. So all that affects her growth. So now we have put all that in place. I think she'll be fine.
Yeah,
so how much more money do we need to complete the process?
What's the balance?
You know, we did 41. We're supposed to do 94.
We need about 50,000 Ghana cedis to finish the first part, and then every time she comes in, there will be some amount or cost associated with the hospitalization. We do fundraising abroad. I just came from the U.S. I arrived last night. Attending several meetings and talking to friends and trying to get sponsorship for some of our patients. And interestingly, whilst I was there, I spoke with a friend of mine and mentioned another Ghanaian girl called Thelma, who's just like Jamaima, but younger, 3 years old, in a hospital, and has 160-degree curve. And Thelma wasn't going to live, actually, so we just brought her in, put in a halo. Now she's walking around with her mom. She hasn't had any surgery. And I was talking to a friend said, how much is Thelma's surgery? I said, probably $15,000. So she wrote a check for $15,000.
Oh, wow.
But that's the kind of help that we like to get. You know, people's hearts are touched and they want to help. But we haven't seen the same kind of a philanthropic response in this
Ghana.
country, which is unfortunate. I think we need to get it into our DNA and our culture, that as we are blessed, we need to bless others. We need to help out too. Yes, we all have families that we like to help, but there are also unfortunate members of the society who do not have our other people's support. I mean, Thelma's mother sells water and the father is amazing. There's no way she's going to come up with $15,000, but it helped. And there are 20 others who are waiting for sponsors. So we need to embark on an aggressive sponsorship program.
How do we begin to do that?
Well, I think what you're doing is the start. You know, going on TV and telling people that, hey, listen, there is expertise out there to treat these kind of deformities that you will not be able to get treatment for in any other place other than where we are. I would say that Focus Orthopedic Hospital is the first specialty orthopedic hospital in the country that has the specialists and the infrastructure and the technical expertise to manage these complex orthopedic problems, and we cannot let it go. We have to support it. 26 million people. I'm a spine deformity surgeon, probably the only one, but I'm training young Ghanaians to be to basically.
You're training
we do have residents and fellows, and neurosurgeons that we work with are Harry Akoto and Yankee. So eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to have more people doing this surgery. But even though we can do the surgeries, it's going to cost something. The equipment, the instrumentation, the anesthesia, the medication, intensive care unit. I mean, we do have a first-class facility that needs to be supported.
In some of the instances, I mean, even with Jamaima's case, we didn't raise the amount that could even get her through the initial procedure. So why do you do it? Because, we know the help will come. Cash.
Yeah, we are always on loan, some borrowed grounds. So we have to do what we have to do, and then wait for the funds subsequently. And whilst we're doing that, we're also asking people to help. So it's not just we can't let people die just because we don't have the money. We have to do what we have to do, and hopefully help will come. I mean, like Thelma's, for instance, she's been there for 2 months, and there was no way or any sign that anybody was going to sponsor her until I talked to a friend of mine. She said, okay, I will sponsor her. So we do have hope and belief.
But there's a friend who's never seen Thelma.
No,
just tell my story.
This is a white girl. Doesn't know. She's a white girl. Doesn't know Thelma. Doesn't know anything. All I said was, "This is the girl," and I showed her Thelma's picture, and bingo, that was it.
Wow.
But here we live. We see our people see these patients, and nothing gets done. So a fundraising program, and this is where we might need your help in terms of broadcasting or spreading the news, maybe engaging in the actual function that will bring in benefactors to help raise funds for these children.
Somebody might be watching and telling him or herself, I don't have $15,000, that's a lot of money, but I could afford something. Is anything welcome?
Well, any amount helps. I mean, when I go to the U.S. and I give these lectures and I talk to people, I kind of joke at the end and say, hey, where's my collection basket? You know, it's just like you go to church. We don't expect one person to pay the whole church's bill, right? The collection basket comes along and somebody may put in a CD and 10,000 one CD. It all helps. So whatever anyone has, I think it will be, we will add to the lot and hopefully come up to the total amount.
Sure. So until you get funding, these other 20 people would have to go and look for the money and then come and do the surgery.
That is correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Wolf, how do you feel, you know, when you see particularly very young people that you know that you can help who are struggling so much?
Well, being a doctor in Ghana, I think all of us go through that. I mean, it's not just spine diseases alone. There are people with a lot of ailments who really need help, and poverty, it really is killing a lot of people. It is heartbreaking. And so when we can't help, whatever we have to do to help, we just go ahead and do it at great cost and sacrifice our families, sacrifice our time, and then give them the best that we can. You can't help everybody, but whoever comes your way, you just do your best for them, give them a whole new lease on life. And when you see them like this afterwards, I mean, the joy is endless. You know, you've made a great difference in their lives. That is payback enough. Yeah.
Can she go back to school?
Oh yes.
She's already in school.
She's already in school, isn't she? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
but we know that she pulled out for the procedure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, she can go back
Okay.
to school. Yeah.
Can we have the accounts, you know, that people can send their donations?
There you are.
If you have a lot, please send it into it. If you have a little.
Yeah, we do have
save.
information on 2 bank accounts. There's a CD account and there's a dollar account.
Okay,
With
so
the SGSSB bank.
okay, I'll give you the numbers, but what we'll do afterwards is to put it on the screen so that you can capture it well. So this is the account name, Focus Endowment CD Accounts, and the account number is 072 010 108820. 072 01 01 08820, and the bank is SGSSB. The branch is the head office, Accra. That's the first one. The second account, which is also SGSSB, and the branch is the head office, Accra. And I guess this is the dollar account. So this is the Focus Endowment dollar account. That's the second one. And the number is 072 5100 19685. 072 5100 19685. Also SGSSB Bank, the head office, Accra. It's got a SWIFT code, which is SSEBGHAC. What we do after every segment is we upload it onto our YouTube channel, so you can always catch up, and it will not be too late whatever time that you see it. Where are you going? Whatever time that you see it to change Jamaima's life. That's Jamaima. She's still got some procedures to go through. What do you want to say? Oh, Jamaima says thank you. And a thank you really is not just for us here. It's for all of you who support, and to our colleague Emefa Atiamoa Eli, who went all out to bring this. Yeah, we've got a special documentary. We've been running the promotion. Let me just play it to you and remind you that it's on at 6:30. So just watch this.
174. So she's getting a lot of height already. And you can see her chest is more aligned compared to this, where she's really lopsided and twisted.
Prof is leading the surgery on Jamaima. Before that, all protective gears must be worn to fit. There must be no loose ends or close touch with any other personnel or gadget before touching the patient. The theatre is set. Lights on, operating tools and equipment neatly and orderly arranged, and Prof's dream team poised for action. All essentials checked and a prayer kickstarts Jamaima's surgery.
We're doing a PSF limited growing rods T2L4 weighing 475.
Surgery begins and doctor's dream team is busy at what it does best. Professor Ohiniba Boacheje believes Jamaima would have died by age 10 if she had not done the surgery. Thanks to the benevolence of Joy News' cherished viewers. For years, Prof and his team have done this tirelessly to change destinies. Though there were moments of disappointment, the team never gives up.
So we have all the screws in, and we're going to put, we have 2 rods on top and 2 rods to be in the middle. We're going to use that to get the spine corrected and then stretched. Okay. So this is 2 top rods. And then the 2 bottom rods will be going in next. So we only see the spine, the top and the bottom. As I said, the top and the bottom will be like spot welded. Everything in the middle is going to move.
There are times when surgery lasts a whole day depending on the complexity of the case. In Jamaima's case, the major task here is to insert a growing rod at her back. The rod will be fixed along her spinal cord to enable the spine grow in the direction of the rod, which will gradually straighten the curved spine. After 3.5 hours, Jamaima is finally out of the theatre. It was a great success and a relief to both medical team and the crew covering the surgery. She'll need a couple of hours to come out of the anesthesia. Prof tells us she fared wonderfully.
So this was, that was her.
The original.
Yes, before his surgery. Okay. This is it now. And this is even after taking down some of the correction. So compare these two. Okay. And let me see. This is 1, 2. Whoa, it's 58.
Whoa, that's way down.
Much better. Yeah.
So gradually it will shift into that space.
No, this whole part of the spine is not fused. It's moving. So this is going to grow. She's going to grow, and these things are going to lengthen.
Okay.
These are connectors.
Okay.
So these connectors, sometimes I leave and let them lengthen by themselves, but it won't work in her case because it's too severe.
It expands, it stretches.
So, no, but I have to do it actively, which means that every 6 months I'll make a small incision here, and I will disengage these things. They are together like this. I push them apart.
Oh, okay. To stretch it.
Yeah, right. So I left about 3.
Okay, so I'm not showing you everything. You have to stay on 6:30 this evening for part 1 of this documentary. That's MFS documentary. We've got a part 2 tomorrow at 6:30 as well. But in the meantime, we're raising funds because there are a lot more people just like Jamaima who need your support, and that's why we're appealing to you. Whatever it is that you have, you can donate, whether in dollars or in Ghana cedis. That's very much welcome. In the meantime, there are people who don't even know Ghana, who haven't seen us, who haven't seen some of these patients, who are donating joyously. How about we, those who live here, who knows these stories, who live with these people? We need your support. So, Jamaima, what do you want to become when you grow up? You want to be a doctor? No. You want to be a teacher?
What do you want to do?
You want to be a lawyer? You want to be what?
She's not sure yet. Give her time.
Yeah, she's still feeling her way.
Give her time, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so what are, if somebody is watching us and they have a condition like this, what should they be doing now?
Well, the first thing is to see your doctor. And if you know that your child, your daughter, or your son has a curvature of the spine, then first take it to the doctor, him or her to the doctor, but the second will be to seek us out, is to come to Focus Orthopedic Hospital. We are located in Pantan on the Aburi Road. It's not difficult to find. And there we'll be able to provide a comprehensive assessment, including the clinical review, as well as obtaining the x-rays that are needed to assess this condition properly. Not every x-ray will tell you that you have the condition and what it is and how it is and how much. But we do have special x-rays that we do take that gives us a pretty good information on the patient's problem, and so we can give you a good assessment and then tell you what needs to be done.
Okay. All right. Just before we go, okay, I think MFA, maybe you have to come for Jamaima.
I think Jamaima has had enough.
Yeah, she's had enough, yes. MFA will have to come for Jamaima.
Okay.
Daddy's just around the corner. We'll see you soon. Okay, so
so she's in a brace now,
Yeah.
and the brace is to kind of hold her spine. You know, because she's just held on top and bottom of the spine, everything in between is moving. We don't want these rods to break, because sometimes they do break. You know, if it's stressed too much.
Okay.
So the brace is holding her until the ends are fused or welded, and then we'll let it go. And by then we'll be able to lengthen her. And probably once a year we have to change the whole thing, because they tend to break also. And that's a normal outcome.
Okay. All right. So, you know, what should we know about this condition as a people?
So spine deformity, as I said, is prevalent in the entire world. And it is usually shows up in teenagers, but it can be early also, like her. So I would say to parents that watch or inspect your children's backs. If you see an abnormality, a hump or curvature, not only idiopathic scoliosis, but also infections like tuberculosis can also affect the spine and cause destruction of the vertebral bodies and cause the spine to collapse. So you should inspect your children's backs. Any abnormality should be reported or at least taken up with a doctor to examine the patient, obtain proper x-rays, and then come up with recommendations for treatment. If your child isn't breathing well and the patient is curved, it could be because of that also. But you don't want it to get that far.
Is there one that is normal?
Well, if you look at anyone, you shouldn't have a twist of your spine. You shouldn't be bent. You shouldn't be leaning to the side. A normal spine is up to 10 degrees. So imagine 127 degrees. By the time it gets to 40, you should be able to see it, you know, with a naked eye. You know, and uneven shoulders, uneven waist, a trunk shift, your shoulder blade sticking out. There are several subtle signs that you can watch and inspect and see, and parents can pick it up. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Dr. Wolf, your area is also an area of specialty.
Yes,
do you have a lot
is.
of colleagues?
Well, at least we are better than the spine.
Oh, come on. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Surgeons.
Quantity-wise,
we're
yes.
building our capacity now, so it's not as bad. It is still an endangered specialty because I don't think we are more than 50 specialists for the consultants for the entire country. So, but we are also training. We've got accreditation to train people in that in anesthesia. So it will also help. We are usually background people because he is always in the forefront, but he is able to do his work because he knows that we are there, and he trusts that no matter how severe his deformity is, his anesthetist has got his back. Yes, because we do the pre-op optimization, we do the post-op care. The patient, Jamaima was in the intensive care for about 3 days. She couldn't breathe well, which was expected, so we were prepared for it. And all that contributes to the success of the surgery, big time. So we don't play. We are also major players, but they are in the forefront. Yes.
What's been your major challenge setting up Focus and running it in Ghana?
Several. One, the human resources, as she said, there's about 50 of them in the country. And when you have 26 million people and everybody, several patients being admitted to the hospital, you need good anesthetic care. Orthopedic surgeons, we have 25 in the whole country of 26 million. There are no spine deformity surgeons, not one. Neurosurgeons do spine surgery, but it's mostly degenerative spine. So we have to train more spine deformity surgeons, which we're hoping to do. The infrastructure is a big challenge. We have 3 boreholes on our compound that gives us thousands of gallons of water that goes through reverse osmosis to be cleaned and to be able to use in the operating theaters. So that's physical infrastructure. We're paying thousands of cedis every year for electricity. And when the power goes out, we revert to a generator. And when that goes out, we have a second generator. And when that goes out, we have another generator. So these are very expensive. Okay. And the road is not even finished going to the hospital. And that's 2 years that we've been asking for help to get the road done. So 2-kilometer road off the main road is still dirt road. You have people coming in and out. But once we come to the hospital, it's like an oasis. You should come and see, and we encourage people to come and see where we are. So the infrastructure, and not only the physical, but also just the resources that we have to work with. Equipment, very sophisticated equipment, radiographic equipment, anesthetic equipment, monitors, and also the drugs that we use, most of them are not available, that we have to import. So these are all challenges.
Do you get frustrated, with our system?
I'm at a point of no return. Once I closed my shop in New York and decided I was going to come and do this, I wasn't going to look back. So I'm still building assets in the country, and I have to stay because I believe people need help. We cannot let this discourage us. The challenges are there in every life. It's just like education. The seeds are very bitter, but the fruit is sweet. When you see Jamaima, that's a fruit. That's a sweet fruit, even though it's not easy getting there.
Yeah,
and we like to pluck them one at a time. And then we have the funding challenge. So this is a big challenge in terms of getting the resources to do the work. We carry about $6 million in our budget every year, and we always have about $1.5 to $2 million shortfall that we have to raise abroad to be able to supplement, to break even. And just to break even, not counting additional facilities and improvements that we would like to do on the campus. And also having the qualified staff, well paid, taken care of, so they'll be committed to doing the work that we do. So
really, you're not making any profit?
If we break even, the profit is Jamaima. If we can break even and have people walk out breathing and having a better quality of life and living longer, that's our profit. We cannot count that in dollar terms.
That's a piece of encouragement for some of us. We need it. Dr. Wolf, you continue doing this?
I've been working with him since 2008. I've been in charge of anesthesia for him since 2008, and we've done a lot of great work, scary for both of us, but it has been great.
Yeah.
And I think the sky is the limit as long as we set our minds to it.
We thank you for being there.
Yeah, we have, we think we've operated about close to 2,000 patients since we started.
Close to 2,000?
Yes, and we've seen about 40,000 patients in our clinics. Wow. And if you consider the amount of work that we have done, and if you have to take these patients are brought and operate on them, that's close to $400 million of cost that we would incur, either the individuals or the government. If you had to operate on all these patients abroad, that's about $400 million. You know, you can't put a price to that. So we're saving money, government, and also saving people money. But more importantly, it's improving lives and giving people new leases on their lives.
When are you starting Thelma's process? When are you beginning?
Oh, we need probably another month or two. It's not, Thelma is not an easy one.
Okay.
Yeah,
But she has improved remarkably since we first saw her. We hope she continues to do that, and then maybe in another month or so we can put her on the list and then keep our fingers crossed.
Okay, so that was just me. Because, you know, Prof mentioned Thelma, who is a 3-year-old, whose situation is even worse if compared to Jemaima's situation. All right, so we thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I think it will be curious for you to stick around at 6:30 and then watch the entire story as told by MFA. Some great professionals at Focus who work there to change lives every day. Thank you so much, Professor Hineba Boacheje, for being here.
Thank you, Mama.
And Dr. Irene Wolf, I appreciate your time as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, stay with us. This has been my banner. Roland Walker is on standby with AM Talk. You're watching the AM Show.